20,000 will have a DFA pre-audit. You're going to want to create those, and Mallory's going to have more directive. Again, anything less than or equal to, no, will not have one. 5 greater than 5, less than 5. And I can provide this to anyone. Mallory, would you like me to send this out to as well to the group here, the audience?
And if you just send it to me, I can give it out to everybody.
Perfect. All right. So we're just gonna, I'll just, you know, have that. We'll send out this PowerPoint and it can be distributed. Vouchers, again, it's greater than and less than 200 will either have or not have the DFA pre-audit or trigger that workflow process. So again, we have been testing the entire month of March. This next 2 weeks is for DOT to jump in and test, and we are going to be asking in return for your test scenarios. And again, Mallory is going to give more directive, but I did just want to go ahead and showcase an example here. Of what we want to see in your screenshot. So we want to go ahead and see what you're testing, your purchase order, and then of course that it was routed or not routed. So this is an example of what I'm looking for from as far as test results. So yes. And thank you, Ryan, for starting the recording. I appreciate that. Everyone, this is being recorded now. I didn't even think of that, so I appreciate that assistance there. That might be helpful if this is recorded. So any questions as far as what is needed here? If not, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mallory. If there's no questions, you're welcome to put something in the chat if you need to. No questions. All right, Robert, yes, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So my office mate computer went down. I'm wondering if we can get someone from IT here.
Oh, okay.
Robert, is that Robert Leba?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
So Angela's computer went down.
Okay, just have her listen with you.
Okay, come on, have a seat. Thank you.
And again, it's being recorded, so
Gotcha.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And then did someone else raise their hand? Was there another? I don't see.
I think Keith.
Oh, yes, Keith.
I had raised my hand earlier because my password reset wasn't working, but I saw that Mallory had noted to stay on after.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Then with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I'm going to turn this over to Mallory, and she can give you the specifics on what she wants you to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and have Bobby chime in with anything at that point from the share team.
Okay, so first and foremost, if you guys had any problems with anything or you can't get to anything, I ask that you direct all communication to Dorothy and Eric from Share Support and myself, and then we will communicate with DFA. No one should go to DFA from this point forward unless we tell you to, but the people that will talk to DFA will be Dorothy, Eric, and myself. Okay, so please do not send emails to them. Do not do any of that. Work through Dorothy. Next thing is I have sent an email out to districts and to executive staff asking them to get me a list, and it needs to be like this. It says Mallory, she's a buyer or she's accounts payable, whichever one, because I know administrators, you have both roles. I will need this list by the end of day. So make sure you guys, like if you're in traffic safety, you start preparing that for Denise. So Denise has everything ready to go to send to me by the end of today. Okay. The next thing you'll receive is an email that says this. These are the different scenarios that we are going to be testing. So you want to do quotes, 2 quotes, and the origin would be DPO, and here are the thresholds. We'll ask you to create 2 purchase orders and then process the payment. There will be a folder in the network drive in procurement that says test. I'll send out the actual note and a snippet of what it looks like. That's where you will drop these packets into. Okay, the process that we have or that we're going to follow right now, things may change, is you will create these in the test environment. If you want to use recycle packets that you've already done, that is absolutely fine. It doesn't need to be fresh, okay? We just need to make sure that you are testing these. You put them in the network drive, procurement will review, procurement will upload the POs into Share, and then we will route it to DFA for approval. And the same thing will go for financial control. There will be a folder in the network drive that is labeled test. You guys will drop them in there and you guys will forward it on to DFA. If that method does not work, then we will have to pivot to something else. But for right now, that is the method we are going with. We are also going to test out rejections. What do rejections look like? Who gets the rejection? From my understanding, if Mallory creates the purchase order and procurement approves it here at the GO, but DFA rejects it, then the purchase order comes back to me as Mallory as the buyer. It bypasses procurement. I will need to see how that is handled so that we do not lose control on purchase orders. So just be mindful about that. And I think the same concept is with vouchers. It goes back to the user. So again, you will receive this, something like this, giving you more direction on the expectation. Right now, it looks like we will have every user or buyer create at least 11 purchase orders. So 11 per district. It doesn't have to be 11 per buyer. And the same thing for programs. So traffic safety, if you have 11, we would want traffic safety to do 11. We would want aviation to do 11, and so on and so forth. Okay. Do we have questions with anything now?
Did someone, I feel like someone just raised their hand, Clarice, or maybe.
This
I was
is your
just
time
doing it.
to ask questions, guys.
Yeah, I
ahead.
was just doing a thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you,
So-
thank you.
The anyone with questions?
I'd just like to add something in there, Mallory, if that's
Yeah, go
okay.
ahead. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I see the test scenarios that you have, those are good. The only thing that I need to make sure that we need to make sure is that is enough budget in all the department codes, or if you're using contracts or anything that those, because if there is not, there will be errors and then we'll have to go in and do the research. So just to make sure that there's a sufficient budget for all the tests that you're doing.
Okay, and when was the environment going to have the update, as of like today?
So-
or?
It was last week. Let me
Okay.
get that exact date for you. So then that way you know what, again, and also adding in those, that anything in flight test, making sure that it doesn't pick up the trigger. We're definitely going to want to make sure that anything that's already in flight in the workflow approval, that's already triggered in workflow approval isn't picked up. So definitely add that test scenario as well. And yeah, any of your negative, so it's as of, see, QA is as of 3:31 at 6 a.m.
Okay,
So March
everyone,
31st.
just be mindful of your budget. If you're recycling a packet, then you will not, more than likely not have that budget available, but just if you do, you can mess with the monetary amount. So if the PO you recycled was for $1 million, now you could change it to $20,000. Just make sure you have the appropriate budget in place in the right accounting streams.
And Bobby, do we have ability to add budget, or do we want to do that? Any directive there?
We really don't want to add budget
Okay.
because then we're changing budget structure. So we just
Perfect.
like for them to test with what they have there.
Okay, so just be mindful of that. Perfect.
other
Anything
thing-
else, Bobby? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. The other thing is on the vouchers. Do you have tests to do direct payments on vouchers?
Should we, I wasn't gonna put that as a scenario, so should I?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to
Since,
hit this hard.
okay, so for direct pays, is there a particular process that you guys do? I don't know, this might be a question for Millhouse because we might not, I don't know if you guys have to enter a certain account code or anything of that sort for it to notify DFA it's direct pay, or do they just know because there's not a PO tied to that line?
Anything
Um,
over 200, sorry, Vanessa, anything over $200 will get triggered to go to DFA regardless of the account that it
Uh-huh.
goes to. So anything over 200 will trigger to go to DFA.
Okay, but what do you mean by direct pay then?
Without a purchase order, anything
Geneva's
that's
on.
not referencing a
Oh.
purchase.
Go ahead, Geneva.
Good morning. So,
Morning.
direct pay, like, Bobby just mentioned, it is when you're not using a purchase order that gets linked to the voucher, but that's applicable to all vouchers. So whether it's under 200 or not, and you're doing a direct pay, you want to just make sure that, of course, that's just not pulling in a purchase order. It's just tying in, just when you're creating that voucher, it's just from scratch. It's just the same information, again, just not pulling in that PO. So that's what a direct pay entered into share. Like for travel, we don't require a purchase order. So that would be an example of a normal direct pay. The other direct pay that requires permission would be when you have a memo from the state controller because you weren't able to do a purchase order. So it'd be with a purchase order that you did have permission to do without, or a travel that didn't require a purchase order. So that would be the two scenarios for entering in a direct pay. And that's for
Yeah.
any dollar amount.
I'll have them do travel then for sure. I do have a question though, based on Jennifer Archuleta's comment saying that ENC is the origin for 20K to 60K. That is something that we don't use here at the department, so we'll have to change that process for us. So you might see some that, I mean, if you see things that are wrong, again, when it gets to DFA, you guys will reject them and then correct it, right?
Correct. We'll deny it back with the requirements or the steps you need to take.
Okay, so I guess since this is testing, do you want to spend all that time telling them what's wrong, or should we just schedule another meeting saying, okay, these are all the things we saw that DOT did wrong? And we do it at that time rather than interrupt the testing of this.
I think we can deny based
Yeah.
on whatever documents you're sending, and then we can meet again to kind of touch base on all those denials.
Okay, so is it fair to say then, once you guys deny, you would say, okay, you would tell them what the solution is. So it's either change the origin to DPO and not give a reason, just say change the origin to DPO. They change it, they resubmit it, and then it gets approved. And then you'll just have a list of things saying, when you guys do these procurements, this is what needs to happen.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
We'll go through the motions of our normal process in denial. And then we can collectively get all those typical denials that we have during our session. And then follow up with an email, with a meeting to kind of go over, just to kind of re-emphasize the reason and support those denials.
okay, and I hate to put you on the spot, so we don't upload anything into share right now. Can you share your screen and show us what a denial looks like on a purchase order and a denial that what looks like on an accounts payable? Because we're not necessarily we use comment boxes, but just to explain 30-day letters, and some people do it and some people write a memo. So I just want to make sure everyone knows what they need to look for.
Okay, so I can share my screen. I don't have anything. I can kind of I'll make up something. Let's see.
Did you get into the environment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're perfect. Great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Can you
just
see my
wanna,
screen?
we can see her screen, and if I just quickly want to take a moment, do you see in her URL at the top? It's fqa.share. Please ensure, I think a lot of you that might be having password issues, you have to finish setting up the authentication piece utilizing that URL. I just put it in the chat for those of you that might need it. Please utilize that. I will.
Let's see what POs. Let's see here, hold on. What POs I have available out there. We'll start with POs.
Geneva, there's some POs already out there that are pending approval that were tested. They're under the name the buyer Betty Romero.
Okay, I see one here for 419. So I'll start with this one here. So what we normally do is we're gonna go into, on our end, we go into the purchase or approve purchase order,
Mhm.
and then we pull up the BU. And in this case, this agency has 5. So we're gonna
Pending
start with,
POs.
I'm sorry.
These ones have 5 pending POs, so you're gonna select one.
Yeah, so when we do our audit, we do it, do you want me to go through the whole audit or just show you how we deny?
If you just show us how to deny, and then we can just, I want them to know where they find out if it was denied or not.
Okay, so if I go in here to deny it, I'm not even sure, where does it, Jennifer, show up in the, I'll deny it here in the system, and then we'll go in and see where it is on the add update PO. So if I go here to this one, I'm gonna deny it. I'm gonna say I'm gonna put a comment here,
Okay,
and I'm gonna just say I don't know, incorrect account code. Account code used. If we know for sure, we'll say incorrect account code should be, I don't know, sometimes you'll say maybe should have been office supply. And then we'll say update and resubmit is what we say.
Okay.
Submit, and then we all put our name, and I'm gonna put the date that I did it. So this is what I'm gonna send back to the agency, and this is, like you mentioned earlier, it's going to go to the buyer. So I'm gonna hit okay. So now we go into the regular purchase order, what's add update PO.
mm-hmm,
And this is what where the agency can go in and modify and make their corrections. So you go find, an existing value. I'm gonna type in 419. And then the PO number that we just did was 00001. Did I not put enough zeros? Okay, so here it says denied.
okay,
And then view approvals down at the bottom left. It's gonna say denied. I think it's gonna be at the DFA approval. So I'll have my name denied, and then it's gonna have the comment. Incorrect account code should be.
okay, so it date stamps it, and that's where you guys find out. Okay,
Yeah.
let me, I think Clarissa, you had your hand up, do you have a question?
Yeah, so will we receive
What
some
happened
kind
to
of,
my computer?
will we
What?
receive some kind of email telling us that the PO has been denied, or we just have to go in there and check?
I believe that you get an email, the buyer gets an email. Bobby, can you confirm, or
Repeat that again.
does, when I deny it back, does the buyer, would the buyer who created this PO get notified by
Yes.
email?
Yes.
So it would be
Oh, I don't recall if it gets done by email, but they will get notification.
okay.
How though? I mean,
It pops up on the top when you go in to share and you're looking at it. There's that little bell that tells you.
Right
That
here?
On the
there's-
notification?
Yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
notifications.
Okay.
Okay,
So it would say denied instead of me waiting for approval, it would say denied here.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay.
is there any other questions on this from anybody? Go ahead, Camille. Camille? You're on mute. She must be having problems.
There
Oh,
we
there
go.
we go. Okay, go ahead.
Is there a query that we can run? Possibly to show what, all POs are approved or denied, and the same thing for vouchers?
Bobby, do you know if there's a query? I wouldn't know that answer.
There is a query that you can run. It's only there while it's on denied status. So the minute somebody changed the denial status to like say pending or something, then you wouldn't have access to that. It won't show in your report. And I think it's denial. I think
Sorry
you
about
run the,
And is that for everybody, or do you have to have a certain security rule?
I think you have to have security, but I'm not 100% sure.
We'll have to figure that out, Camille, later, okay? We'll get you an
But there
answer.
is, but there is.
Thank you.
Christina?
Hi, everybody. So let's say that it gets denied and it goes back to the initial user. They fix it, they submit it again. So then at that point, does it come back to procurement here as a second approver, or does it bypass the second
No.
and go back to you guys?
It'll start the whole process again.
Okay.
So it'll start the buyer, then it'll get their supervisor review approval, and then second level, and then comes back to DFA, and then we'll see it here at DFA if it's over 20,000.
Okay,
Now
so if they're missing a document, then they upload it, or I guess it would be us, we would upload it. I guess, how does that work? So is it usually the initial user that uploads the document and then the second just review, or do we have access to also upload documents as a second reviewer?
You guys are
I'm
gonna
not-
have access to upload. You guys should have access.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this, the security,
Okay.
but yeah, there's usually everyone can, if you have
Okay.
access to approve it, you should have access to add.
Okay,
Is
Bobby, I
correct,
don't know, do you have?
Geneva?
an-
Yeah,
oh, okay.
yeah, that is correct, Geneva. If they, the supervisors can go in and add comments, or they can add attachments or whatever it may be. Once they, submit for approval, it re-triggers and it goes back to the same, as Geneva said, the same process.
Okay, and then I just want to make sure, Bobby, since we have a modification in purchasing, when the districts were allowed to approve their POs, that, and it's under the 20 grand, that will still remain at the district level, right?
It did not change. Anything that's under 20,000 did not change from previous, if it wasn't scheduled to go to DFA, the structure stayed the same, so they should have access to do the approvals.
Okay.
And during this test, you will be able, we can test that.
Yeah, please, yeah, anything that comes to mind. I do want to call out in the chat. Thank you, Anne. Killoy added a couple of queries in the chat about regarding the denied conversation a few minutes ago. So if people want to note those, they're in the chat.
Okay, can you show us now a voucher where you deny the voucher?
Okay, so if we go to vouchers. Let's see. So I go to mass voucher approval. And let me jot this down. We'll do 354. I'll do the first one. 345,809. Okay, so we'll do our audit and so forth, and then I'll select it. I'm not sure do you guys see the same screens on your at DOT? I'm just kind of, sorry. Just going over what I see. So then, here it's kind of the opposite for our end. We have to do a comment prior to selecting versus like POs. We did the deny and then comment. So here we would just put the comment in, incorrect. Or we could even say, I don't know, missing supporting documentation. Upload. Gosh. And then here I put my name again. And then I'm going to deny this one back. Did I get the number down? Yeah.
Geneva, while you're doing that, if I can interrupt just a bit, Mallory, how did you handle denials before this new process?
We do it all internally on our network drive, so they submit a voucher packet through PDF. And then our financial control unit writes a watermark that says account number incorrect. And then they take the voucher packet and save it into another folder. And then the user knows it's a rejection folder. So the users go into rejection folders and they pull up the PDF.
So the deny function was never used?
It was never
Before?
used, no. We just would not approve.
Okay, so then once you do that, if you go into regular entry back in your tile, so now we go look at the document and on regular entry, find an existing value. You're gonna type in that one that was 354,00. And this one is 12345,809. And so here's where you're gonna see that it was denied. So right here, it's the document status is denied.
Okay.
And then you're gonna approval history. It's gonna say denied. Usually it's where, similar to PO. And then say missing supporting documentation, upload and resubmit. And then once you do that, then it's that's where you'll be able to tell. And then when you have denials here, since you mentioned that you guys don't do the denials, you do once you make the correction, the buyer or the person who created it, there is going to be a function here that says resubmit. And there's a lot of people that they're like, where's my document? We corrected it, a week ago, whatever. It doesn't come to us unless you reapprove it. So you have to just make sure once you make your modifications, you're gonna have to put it back into workflow. So submit for approval, then it starts again like from the beginning, your supervisor, second level. And if you don't see it here, it should be here and voucher attributes tab, it's gonna be there's 2 locations for that submit for approval.
Okay, so that will be new for everybody that has a rejection. Again, once you fix your rejection, you need to hit that submit for approval. Otherwise, we will not be able to approve at I think financial control will probably be able to view it, but they will not be able to push it onto DFA.
Yeah.
So
and
you
could tell by if it's denied, it should be pending here.
Okay. Are there any questions on this?
I have a question. I just need to know how long it'll be. I forgot the question. How after we do all of this testing, then we're not going to do the internal audit review anymore?
I don't understand your question.
Like,
sorry.
okay, like the way that we do it right now. Sorry, my name's Annette. The way that we, like you explained how we've never used the denied button before, or area before. Are we going to still submit our packet through the internal process right now? Like, for example,
Yes.
okay.
Nothing's gonna change. You'll still submit into the network. Financial control will pick up the voucher. If they feel like something's wrong with, or if they reject it, they will reject it like normal. You guys will then you'll fix it, you'll resubmit it like you normally do. They'll review it. If they see that the review was done correctly, then they will upload it for DFA.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks for that
Okay.
clarification.
And
Thank you very
again,
much.
I just want to make sure everyone understands this is the process we're going with. If we find out during testing that this is not going to work for the department, we are going to have to pivot and develop a new process. So I'm hopeful that this will work, but I'm not certain that it's going to be easy for everybody. So I want to make this as efficient for your side plus our side, okay? So
Thank you.
just be aware that things may change. Go ahead, Camille.
So as far as documentation, that was very vague, saying the missing documentation. So is there possibly a list of items that are required just to make sure that our packets have enough information to actually be paid for? Our packets are usually excessive. And also, is there a documentation limit as a number of pages?
Okay,
So-
so
Yeah. I think Geneva, Camille, I've met with Geneva last week. We're gonna start sending her examples of how you guys submit things to make sure they're fine with the documentation. I'm sure if there's an actual documentation that was missed, they would be more detailed than just missing supporting documentation. They would actually tell you what you're missing. As far as the pages are concerned, we may need to limit what pages are being uploaded. Some of our packets may be too big for that, but we will have to determine this now during the testing process. Like Geneva mentioned earlier, we'll get another meeting where we go over like testing of everything or training, not testing, training of everything so that everyone's on the same page on what the expectation is. But right now, the goal is to test the workflow, not necessarily to make sure the information's correct, okay?
so if I can just make a comment. So in the comment that I said for missing documentation means that there's nothing attached. I mean that there's nothing attached. So if you did have an invoice on there, I would indicate invoice is incomplete, missing dollar amount or date or who you're paying. So I'd be more specific once I had documentation, but in that instance it was kind of a quick just a quick denial. But we would only state missing documentation if there was nothing for us to look at. And ultimately, there couldn't be any other direction other than it's missing. But yeah, you're welcome. And then just to keep in mind, supporting documentation is what is telling you owe this money. Who you're paying, when were the services done. So just keep in mind, those things like who, what, where, when, and why. And we need to see that and who's it coming from, who do you have to pay? That's what we're looking for when you're making these payments.
Geneva, and to add to that, I think all that information is also in the maps, correct?
Correct, yes. Yeah, this is a good example of an invoice. So who we're paying, the invoice date, because that's all because you need this information to enter into share anyways, right? Who you're selecting the supplier, your invoice date, your what account code are you choosing based on the services or goods that you're receiving, the total amount that's due, right? And then how you're going to pay it. Where do they want the payment remitted to is what we need as well. So if this is just the one payment, then we would just need this supporting documentation.
Any other questions? Okay, so again, let me just reiterate, I will send out the scenarios by end of today on what we want you guys to test. We still have users that do not have access. We will work on getting them access, probably not till Wednesday or Thursday. Give us a little bit of time. Next week, I will send out another invite with all the users that are participating in the testing, and we will go over any issues that you guys are seeing. If you guys have questions at that time, you can ask us. Meantime, if you guys run into any problems, please go to Dorothy or Eric or myself or Augustine. There's 4 of us. If you can't get a hold of any of us, Augustine's a person. And we will try to troubleshoot those. If we cannot, then we will escalate to DFA. No one from DOT should contact DFA at this time. Okay,
So I did want to just kind of try to do a little bit of coordination between the GSD approvers that are participating and the DFA, Geneva and team, and Ray and his team. I wanted to ask, I guess, Ray and Geneva as kind of just to speak on behalf of, should we wait or give a timeline like, okay, like everything should be submitted by a certain date and then you guys go in there and approve and deny, or are you going to be just constantly in there checking? How do you want to proceed, I guess, to ensure that everyone gets seen and everything gets approved that should be approved? I was just thinking, how do we do that?
I think that's a good question. I think we should have a day and time that we do that, just because we have a high volume here at DFA and I don't constantly check that. I think if we, once everybody's situated, or if you, maybe Mallory, when do you want us to kind of, we could do it like twice this week, but I think having a date and time would benefit.
Yeah, I agree. So what we can do, Geneva, is we can have, by Friday, I will have procurement have a list of all the POs that they reviewed and approved, and a list of all of the accounts payable that reviewed and approved, and we can email that to you, and then you guys can go in and review them next week.
Okay, you don't have to, you don't have to do the list. I mean, you can. You could just tell us, work is pending approval, and then we can kind of go in and verify that information. But I mean, having a list would be nice if you have one. We'll just check it off. But and then we can verify whether it came to us or not. That can troubleshoot like the workflow as well.
Yeah, I think a list would be helpful that way, because
Yeah.
again, I don't know if anyone wasn't on, I apologize, I don't mean to interrupt, but we'll need the screenshots. We'll need to know what you
Okay.
tested. So if you're working off a list,
Perfect.
Geneva and Ray and team, that would probably be the best route, so that because of SOC audit, and if we get
Yes.
audited with these changes, we need to show like, hey, we fully, we threw the kitchen sink at this and here it all is, if this project were to get pulled as for a SOC audit review.
Perfect.
And that's, I think, Mallory, y'all, the DOT group, that you have your directive, Mallory's going to be sending out not a URL, excuse me, a file folder link, and you will work together and they'll be submitting. So does that work for you? I don't know if Ray's on. I know there's a lot of people in here. Ray or someone representative from GSD, does that work? To have like a, hey, this should be in your queue to approve.
So I guess that
Yes,
might
that'll
be
work.
that might be different. And Christina, I need you to chime in. So I don't believe we are going to be going to GSD for PO approvals, since we have an exemption right now. We will still go through it for ITBs and RFP, some of our RFPs, but an actual PO to be approved and shared, I do not believe we need GSD approval.
So GSD CRB does review them for IT professional services, not ITBs. But that's it that they will review or have been reviewing on our PO side. So our professional services are internal and they don't go over there. So we use PSC or for our internal contracts, and we enter them ourselves into the shared contract module.
So I don't know, we can, was that gentleman's name Paul, I think? Is it Paul?
Ray?
Ray?
At GSD? Yeah, Ray, I
Yeah.
don't know if you want to chime in.
So I can get your contact and then we can let you know, but I do not think we'll be creating any like that.
So based on my understanding is I understood that that exemption will be going away in FY 27 starting July 1st. So the thing is, we will have to have POs coded to CRB so that they'll route to us for approval, because if we're signing those contracts, we have to authorize the encumbrance. There's a statute on that. So technically right now, even the IT professional service contracts that come to us, even with the exemption in place, we don't see the POs. So we have to go in there manually and look at it. And that's just because the exemption prevented us from seeing all the CRB POs from DOT.
Okay, yeah, we'll probably need to have this conversation because I was told with our secretary that those were not gonna change. And I was told this last week with his conversation with Secretary Silva. So let's get together and then we could just clarify that.
Okay, great. So I'll make sure that there's an action item to make sure everyone's aware of the change. Yeah, I was under the same impression as Ray, Mallory, so we'll take this offline.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Aside from that, Mallory, I do see there's approximately 129 people on this meeting. Do you feel, or maybe that's a question for Dorothy, do we feel like we actually encompass that amount? That like everyone should be on here listening that needs to be?
I think the majority, yes, but
Okay.
there might be some users are just supervisors or managers that just are interested in the conversation, not necessarily going to be testing.
Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure we grabbed everybody. So, okay, cool. That's great. Is there anything else that was missed? Any other questions? Bobby, do you have anything additional to add in?
No, that pretty much covers everything, I think.
Okay, awesome. So I guess if if you received an email from me this morning with direction, will you please stay on so that we can make sure you get access? Everyone else that did not receive an email from me or from Oracle, you can go ahead and drop off. So I'm just interested in, we'll go ahead and work with those individuals.
Right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Mallory. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you're having problems and you're not able to access